How is it that you deal with an unhappy client? Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at the Pearl Lemon Group. We are a business growth and development agency based in the UK, USA, as well as serving clients worldwide. And today, in day number 18 of 106 days of communications training, we're here to talk about a really important topic. How is it that you actually deal with an unhappy client? But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 7 additional strategies that we're not going to be sharing in this training. And this one is definitely one that I'm sure you've all been waiting for. So please do also comment, like, and hit the old subscription button if you're enjoying these videos. I'd really love that, with all of the work that goes into putting these together. So look, when it comes to unhappy clients, it's yeah, it's something that no one really wants to deal with. It's something that any person in a service-based industry will have to contend with, and the, there's really several things I think that you should consider and think about when it comes to unhappy clients. So I'm just going to go through them step by step. So the first thing is that when a client is unhappy, it's important to listen. Okay, so listen means hear out their complaints, and it's best to do that on a call. It's definitely best to do that on a call, or ultimately some form of direct messaging, depending upon your relationship with the client. Some clients you won't be able to speak to because they've had enough and they want to do it on email. But you've got to have some form of active listening fundamentally. The second thing is that, I mean, this is really, you want to speak to them, and when I say speak to them, you want to speak to them or have a call with them with a view to listen, and that's why the listening part is the most important. Not every client likes conflict. Not every client, I mean, most people don't like conflict. Most people don't, not many prospects or clients don't necessarily want to complain face to face. So you want to listen, whether that's on call, whether it's on direct message, whether that's on email, whatever the medium is, and you can determine, what makes a client feel comfortable. But you want to speak to them as well. But in any event, actively listen, and then speak, but speak with a view to listen. Okay. Now the third thing to consider is that you need to respond quickly. So you need to respond quickly, because what will happen when a client's pissed off? Oh, there's all kinds of things that can happen, but a client can be literally effing and blinding, i.e., swearing about you. A client could be talking to your competitor. A client could be creating dissent within their team internally. A client could be doing all kinds of things that generally aren't good. So you want to minimize an opportunity for them to rant, rave, not rave, but rant and spread kind of negativity or toxic, toxic insights. And the way that you do that is by responding very quickly. So as soon as something comes in where a client is unhappy, or you sense a client might not be entirely satisfied, you need to respond super quickly. I'm talking about, if you can, within 5 minutes. Okay, really, within 5 minutes, it's ideal to respond where you think, the client is reasonable and there's, benefit to the relationship. So the reason that I say that, and not in all instances, we do have some clients sometimes who we can just never make happy. Okay, and that's a bit of a different case, which we'll go on to talk about. And there's some clients who seemingly always find something to complain about, and that's about reading the room, understanding the relationship, and looking at their pattern and trying to sense what's really going on. But responding quickly, generally speaking, 8 times out of 10 is a good way to go. So listen actively, speak to them, when you can, with a view to listen actively, respond quickly, and also action. So what you want to do, when I say action, is you want to basically present solutions, take action, but just basically do things. So a good rule of thumb is, when you see an unhappy client, you want a flurry of activity, whether that's stuff that you show your client, whether that's stuff that you present to them later. But clients want detailed answers as to what's happening, how you can fix it, what's going to change, and they're the things to consider. That you want to take action, and you want the actions to be solutions oriented, and you want to provide granular detail of what you're going to actually change, because otherwise it just becomes really challenging. because clients feel or think that you might not be taking them seriously. So I'd say that taking action from a solutions perspective is super, super, super important. Okay. Now, sometimes the unhappiness might come from, for example, a person. And in that instance, you can say that you'll speak to that person and they'll notice an immediate improvement. If that has happened more than once, then it might be the case that you need to swap out that person so that person is no longer involved, or from a client's perspective, they're no longer involved. If it's, for example, so some of this comes down to actively listening and understanding, well, what is the problem? And then you can take the massive action to lead towards a solution, okay? But responding quickly, listening to what they have to say, speaking to them about solutions and actions you're going to take. These four things are really important general way to go. The next thing I'd also consider is, and don't be defensive. So don't be defensive, okay? Being defensive creates arguments, it creates blockages. So you need to be mindful of not being defensive or communicating defensiveness. So if we go back to some of our other trainings, one of the keys to better communication with clients is like smiling and making sure that you are coming from a solutions perspective. So with unhappy clients, I'd say that those are the tropes of what it comes or what it means to deal with them and deal with them effectively. So number one was listen. So let's just give it an L. Number two is speak to them, right? Number three is, well, number four. Well, number three is respond quickly. Number four is actions. And then number five is don't be defensive. So I'd say that these are some of the key rules when it comes to dealing with unhappy clients and how to make sure that you can address problems quickly, effectively, and get them to a place where they go back to fundamentally being happy.